Okay, welcome back to part two. So in this section, I'm going to create a opt-in form on my website. So what I thought I would do is I would show you what I did on Business Equip. I think most of you probably saw this, but just a reminder. So I created a page called Let's Stay in Touch, and on there it had a form with just a little bit of information, and then name, email address, and then the options just to opt in, and a little caveat there for clients. So I'm going to reproduce this for Business Revolution. So what we're going to do, we will go onto the Business Revolution. I've signed in to the website, and I'm in the dashboard, and I've gone to forms, and I'm going to create a new form. So this new form, I'm going to call it GDPR opt-in, and I'm going to create the form. So the form's created, and there it is. So what I want on my form, just looking back at this one, I want name and email address. So I'm going to go to the advanced fields, click on name, and that just drops name in. Yeah, name and then email address. And what else did I have here? And then I've got this box, which is a checkbox. So on this checkbox, at the moment it's like that. So we're going to change this. So I'm going to give it a heading similar to this. I'm cheating a little bit here to save time. Please contact me with the following information, and for what I put on the MailChimp list was training courses hosted by BizRev. News, and the final one, I did the same. Information and opportunities relevant to my business. So there are my three opt-ins, and that is the main thing that I need. I can update that, and I can preview it. So that is my basic form. So what I'm going to do now is create a new page. I'm going to call it Let's Stay in Touch. I'm going to take that text. Again, you can go to my Business Equip site and do exactly what I've just done. And then I'm going to add the form I've just added. So select the form, and it's GDPR opt-in. I don't want any of those things. I'm going to insert that in, and I'm going to publish that page. So the page will be published. I'm going to view the page just to see what it looks like. Yeah, so no sidebar, but yeah, so it matches everything. Now I did have a little bit of a caveat on the bottom here, which I'm going to put back into the form. So, sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit here, back into the dashboard. And I'm going to go back into the form. So I want to just add a little bit of text at the bottom there. So let's do it as an HTML block. I'm just going to put that a little bit as a business resolution. So that's just the legal thing with clients that, you know, if you're in contract with them, you can contact them. So I'm just putting that in there because some of the people I'm going to mail are going to be clients that I have. So if we now go back to our page, let's stay in touch. And we can, there we go. So there it is. If you're, yeah, so that's there, everything there. They can tick what they want and submit it. Now, one thing I did on my Business Equip site that you will have noticed if you got the mailing, that when it came through, your name and your email address were pre-filled. And how we do that is a little clever thing. I'm going to go back to the form and go to the form again. And on these, on the name, going to the advanced option, into the advanced option, and I can allow fields to be populated dynamically. So I can make the first name be filled and surname. I'll call it last name so it's consistent. So I'm going to give first name and last name a way of populating them dynamically, and I'll explain how this works in a moment. And then on the email one, I'm going to do the same. And email. So again, what that will mean when people click on the button in the mailing, it will go to this form, but it will have pre-filled their name and email address. So all they then need to do is actually update their details or their opt-in. They just need to tick on the box. So if we just go to Let's Stay in Touch. Yeah, so that's there. I'll show you how it works. Basically, when we run the mailing, I'm just going to test this. If I put email equals Jim, I need a question mark, stay in touch, email equals Jim, so it's done that. And if I put, and you can test yours in exactly the same way, first name equals Jim, let's just test that, first name equals Jim, and I can do, test it all, first name equals Jim. So when we do our mailing, that is the link that we're going to link them back to, because it will fill out their name and their email address. So it makes it really easy. People can just come in, click, submit, and job done. Okay, so that's setting up the form. The only thing we now need to do on this form is link it to our mailing list. And how we do that is on MailChimp, there are Gravity Forms that has a MailChimp add-on. So if you go to your add-ons, and if you come down here, they're in alphabetical order. So we'll find MailChimp. Here we go. So I'm going to install MailChimp. Now you've all got the licensed version of Gravity Forms that we've supplied you with, so you can add in any of these add-ons. So install, and we need to activate the plugin. So what this does is gives additional functionality to Gravity Forms to allow it to link with MailChimp. So if we now go back to our form and go into the GDPR. All right, so now if we go to settings, we've got MailChimp. So we click on MailChimp. To get started, please configure your MailChimp settings. So configure that. Now, one thing you need to do is give it a MailChimp API key. If you've never done this before, it is very simple, but if you haven't done it before, it's a real pain to find. So if you go back into MailChimp, under your account, if you go to account, so go to account, you'd think it's under integrations, it's not, it's under extras, and go to API key. And then you've got your API keys. Now, if you haven't got any here, you can create a key, and I'll just put one in. You can give it a label. So I've got BizRev website that I'd obviously used on a previous website. So I'm going to take this key. So I just cut and paste that. So Control C, go back into the settings and update. And that is job done. It's got a tick, so it's happy. So I can now go back into my form. So what I've now done, I've just linked my website with my MailChimp. If I now go back into this form and go to the MailChimp settings, you will now find it's slightly different. So it's saying, now let's create a feed. So what this is going to do when somebody submits our form, it will now send to MailChimp. So we've first of all got to select the list. I've got a few here, so I'm going to go for my BizRev post GDPR one, which is the one we've just set up. So it's now pulling back the information. And now what you just need to do is map the fields one from another. So from email address, say email, from first name, it will get some of these automatically. So please contact me with the, so for the training course one, I want to put training courses hosted by that. Co-worker news, it picked up. Other information, I want that to be, so basically, don't want the phone number. I've mapped the forms on the fields on the form into the fields on the list. Now, don't want to have a double opt-in because at this point we're asking them to opt in, so I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to update the settings. Now, I realised I've rattled through this. Do feel free to go back and forth and replay these little bits, but I don't want this video to be hours long, so I'm trying to do this fairly quickly, but you can sort of re-watch to get it. If you do get any problems, just drop me an email and I'm more than happy to talk you through and just help you out on this. So that is what we have done there. So we've updated the settings, so we're good to go. So what I'm now going to do, I'm going to go back onto my form here. I'm going to go to my let's stay in touch. I'm going to go with one that I've pre-filled, so that's going to my form. So Jim, Drew, yeah, so I'm going to just pick one of those and I'm going to submit it. So thanks for contacting us. We'll be in contact shortly. Now, that's probably not what I want to say back there. So I'm just going to go back into the form and update that notification. So in the confirmation, it's actually the confirmation of that being submitted. I'm going to edit that default one. So thank you for updating your details. We will update your records. So something like that, you can make up whatever you want. So that's just what the message that will go back. I'm now going to go back into MailChimp and go to my list and manage contacts. So at the moment, now sometimes it does take a few minutes for them to come through. But you should see fairly soon the contact come through. Now, if it hasn't, then you've probably done something wrong with the, I'm just going to go and check that I did submit the form. So I'm going into the form entries, GDPR. So it's got it there. And if I view that form, it says co-working news. So let's just go back on here, just refresh this page. Still have no contacts. I'm just going to double check Put everything in, so I had that, MailChimp feed. So check the right list. Optin there. So everything to me looks fine. I think it's probably MailChimp at the moment is being fairly slow because I think so many people are doing mailings at the moment. So what I'd suggest, do a test, come back and make sure it has gone through correctly. So that's part 2, that's setting up your opt-in form. So the final thing we have to do, and I'll come back in a moment to show you how to create your mailing. Okay, thank you.